The narrator begins her story rooted in family, memory, and the enduring warmth of her maternal grandmother, Kathleen Kavanagh, whom everyone called Ma'am. Although not wealthy or formal, Ma'am carried an effortless ease and good humor that made her the heart of family gatherings. She was a youthful grandmother, having had the narrator's mother, Miriam, at a young age, and her vitality infused the narrator's early childhood with laughter, warmth, and small, sensory details, like the smell of overdone toast and the shared daydreams of sliding the kitchen roof open to let in the fresh air. Ma'am was from Wexford, the youngest of 8 children of a railway station master at Inch. At 17, she married John Kavanagh, a young Garda policeman from a Limerick farming family who had fought under Michael Collins in the West Limerick Brigade during the Irish struggle for independence. His loyalty to Collins and disdain for de Valera may have hindered his career advancement, but he remained a respected local sergeant in Ballylinen, County Laois, a small village that became the center of Ma'am's life. Despite its size, Ballylinen offered Ma'am friendship and social connection. She was known to enjoy the crack in local pubs long after closing time, even while her husband, the sergeant, was outside knocking on doors to send patrons home. The narrator admires both of them for this, her grandmother for her joie de vivre, her grandfather for his indulgent silence. From Ma'am came one of the narrator's guiding lessons in life: the importance of financial independence for women. Ma'am repeatedly told her granddaughters to work hard, find good jobs, and always have their own running away money. The narrator recognizes this wisdom as born of frustration. Ma'am had married young and had little freedom before motherhood. Though she excelled as a mother, she yearned for more opportunities than her generation allowed. Determined that her daughter Miriam would have those choices, Ma'am sent her to Mount Malik boarding school, where an inspirational principal, Mother Rita, and dedicated nuns guided Miriam toward a teaching career, a decision that would shape not only Miriam's life but her daughter's as well. Family ties and affection run deep in the narrator's memories. She recalls her gentle granduncle Har O'Brien, another Garda who lived alone and found solace in music. When he discovered that his young niece could play piano, he bought her sheet music for songs like Lily Marlene and Down Mexico Way. Playing for him, she sensed his loneliness and felt the quiet satisfaction of bringing joy to his world. After her grandfather's retirement, Ma'am moved with him to Dublin's South Circular Road, delighted to be closer to her family and the bustle of the city. Her visits to the narrator's family home in Foxrock were treasured events. She always arrived with a wicker basket full of sweets, comics, and novels, her presence filling the house with happiness. Even after the narrator entered university at 16, their relationship continued in a new adult form. On Fridays, they met at Neary's pub off Grafton Street for salmon sandwiches, Bacardi and Coke for the granddaughter, and brandy and ginger ale for Ma'am, cherished ritual lunches before the narrator's waitressing shift at Thunderbird's restaurant. Ma'am's death in 1984 left a lasting ache. During their final meeting, Ma'am wept and said she didn't think she would see her granddaughter again, an intuition tragically proven true when she died of cancer months later. The narrator still misses her and feels forever grateful for the joy she brought. The memoir then shifts to the narrator's parents' story, a meeting both romantic and fateful. Her mother Miriam met Jerry O'Callaghan at a Dublin dance, and after parting they arranged to meet again 3 weeks later under Clurry's clock on O'Connell Street, a rendezvous her mother doubted he would keep, but he did. That moment sealed the beginnings of the O'Callaghan family. Jerry was born on a small farm at Kilfillam Crossroads in Killingtierna Parish, County Kerry, a region remarkably rich in Gaelic athletic talent. The family farm later passed down to cousin James, and his wife Anne remains in the family, visited fondly by later generations who delight in its simple pleasures: cows, haystacks, and tractor rides. Jerry was one of 6 siblings, 3 brothers Moss, Dan, and Jack, and 2 sisters, Lizzie and May. The family had little money, and Jerry, unable to attend university, joined the civil service, a steady, respectable path for ambitious young Irishmen of his time. The narrator recalls her paternal grandparents only faintly. Margaret Nana O'Callaghan died when she was 4, remembered as elegant, shawled, and serene by the kitchen range, while Jim O'Callaghan had died before the narrator was born. Yet the extended family remained close. Visits to Callaghan's Cross in Kerry, though logistically chaotic with 2 adults and 5 children descending upon a country household, were marked by unconditional hospitality. The narrator treasures those reunions, which meant so much to her father and instilled lifelong kinship among the O'Callaghan cousins. Among Jerry's siblings, each life tells a small story of Irish struggle, illness, and migration. Uncle Dan, bright and promising, contracted tuberculosis just as a local benefactor had offered to fund his university education. Losing a lung, he instead became a nurse in St. Finan's Psychiatric Hospital, Killarney, where his kindness and gentleness were remembered by patients and families alike. Uncle Jack, the youngest, failed Irish in his leaving cert and thus was barred from many professions, a harsh reflection of the era's rigid cultural policies. He emigrated to London, worked construction, and later became a proud park attendant, living modestly with a welcoming Irish family. The narrator visited him often during her London years, admiring his serenity and humor. His formula for longevity, no wife, no children, no possessions, amused her, though as a mother of 8 she was well past such simplicity. A darker family history emerges through Jack's stories of their great-grandmother Elizabeth Bate Ahern, who endured unimaginable loss. Within 18 months, Bate buried 6 of her children who had died of tuberculosis, and then her husband, Dan Ahern, who succumbed after walking 12 miles in the rain to Killarney to register the children's deaths. In total, Bate lost 8 of her 13 children. The narrator struggles to fathom such suffering yet finds in Bate's endurance a source of pride and humility. This legacy of hardship underlines how far the family has come. Her father's civil service career lifted them from poverty, and she feels profoundly grateful for the generations who labored through deprivation to give their descendants freedom and education. That gratitude was sharpened when, years later, her mother asked her to cancel an episode of Who Do You Think You Are? That would have explored this ancestry. Her mother couldn't bear to have the family's poverty and pain made public, a reminder that, for her generation, the shame of hardship lingered. The narrator honored her wish, her overwhelming emotion being one of thankfulness to her resilient ancestors who paved the way for her easier life. Growing up in Cornelscourt. The next chapter opens with a wry correction of public perception. People often assume she grew up in a grand mansion because she's from Foxrock, Dublin's famously affluent suburb, and because of her refined accent. In truth, her family home was a 3-bedroom semi-detached house near Cornelscourt village, bought for £30,000 in 1956. Her parents both held secure middle-class jobs, her father in the civil service and her mother as a national school teacher, but they were far from wealthy. Her mother even faced the marriage bar, a policy forcing women to leave public sector jobs upon marriage. Fortunately, this discriminatory rule was lifted for teachers in 1958, so she soon returned to work. Despite being the children of rural parents, the narrator and her friends developed a distinctive South County Dublin accent, often mocked for its posh mid-Atlantic tone. The late Arte producer Paddy O'Neill, father of her close friends, teased them about it, unable to fathom how such an accent had arisen. They didn't know either, it was simply how they spoke, and they eventually learned to laugh it off. The narrator was the second of 5 siblings: Margaret, Miriam herself, Anne Kathleen, and the youngest, Jim, born 8 years after her. Their household was lively and crowded, and though an extension was built to add bedrooms and a second bathroom, the 4 sisters insisted on sharing the same room and beds, leaving the new rooms empty but giving their father the luxury of his own bathroom. Family warmth, laughter, and mild chaos defined their upbringing. All the children attended St. Brigid's National School nearby, where their mother taught and later became principal. The school's reputation grew under her leadership, and she remained proud of its excellence. The narrator's early school memories are happy if ordinary, but one detail stands out vividly: the occasional school lunch of Tato cheese and onion crisps and coconut cream biscuits when no sandwiches were prepared. The simple, joyful indulgence of those moments shaped her understanding of childhood happiness, influencing how she raised her own children later. When her mother retired, the school honored her with the Miriam O'Callaghan Award, presented annually to the most impressive girl in 6th class, chosen not for academic results but for kindness and character. The award plaque still greets visitors in the school's entrance, though the later fame of her daughter, the other Miriam O'Callaghan, sometimes caused mild confusion among parents. Music formed another thread of childhood. Beginning piano lessons at 6 with Eileen Simmons on Westminster Road, the narrator walked past elegant mansions each week, dreaming of the lives within. Ms. Simmons, strict but nurturing, kindled her lifelong love of piano. Later, under Ms. Chewy, she advanced to grade 8 and earned a teaching diploma, giving lessons in her family living room during her university years, to the irritation of siblings trying to sleep. The narrator's secondary education brought new challenges. Though Loreto Foxrock, a nearby fee-paying school, would have been convenient, her parents insisted on free education. A friend of her father, Paddy Moriarty, brother of famed broadcaster Michial O'Cute Muirchardeg, recommended Mount St. Anne's in Milltown, a high-performing non-fee-paying school run by the Sisters of Charity. The choice was inspired academically but logistically torturous. The journey required the unreliable 86 bus, nicknamed the Magical Mystery Tour, or early morning lifts from her father. She was only 11 when she started and felt isolated at first, as her primary school friends had gone elsewhere. Her confidence grew through two key outlets: netball and the folk mass choir at Foxrock Church. The choir, led by Tommy Keenan, a charismatic young man with musical flair, transformed the dull ritual of Sunday Mass into something lively and modern. The narrator, harboring a teenage crush on Tommy, joined the choir and found lasting friendships there, including the O'Neill siblings and Gerardine Connolly. Their rehearsals in the church hall or Tommy's house, and musical productions like Jesus Christ Superstar were formative social and spiritual experiences. Netball, too, gave her belonging. Tall and athletic, she played goal attack, which helped her earn respect among classmates. She admired her school's formidable principal, Sister Ignatius Paul, a symbol of female authority and competence. Mount St. Anne's was remarkably well equipped for a free school with sports grounds, science labs, and domestic science rooms, yet it charged only a voluntary £6 annual fee. Many of her classmates went on to prestigious careers, and the narrator credits the school's academic rigor and discipline with shaping her own success. Because she had started school so young, she was too young to sit the inter-junior certificate exams with her class. Her teachers and parents conspired not to tell her this until the day before the exams, a move she found cruel at the time but later appreciated for keeping her focused on study habits without exam pressure. As a teenager, she and her sister Anne worked in Dunn's Stores, Cornelscourt during school holidays. This was the site of Ireland's first out-of-town shopping center, founded by retail innovator Ben Dunn. The job taught her discipline, resilience, and how to handle difficult customers. By 16, she sat the Leaving Cert and achieved strong results. Unsure what to study, she discussed options with her father during a summer in Dingle. He listed the usual professional routes: medicine, veterinary science, law, and she chose law almost on a whim. The decision turned out to be fortuitous. She loved its logic, structure, and intellectual challenge, later crediting her legal training for grounding her broadcasting career.